Have you seen people using the Apple Vision Pro?
I have. I've already seen the videos of the people driving the Teslas using the Apple Vision Pro.
I think it's pretty cool.
We have literal NPCs now, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they're here.
True.
They're here.
Yeah.
Like Fortnite bots, real life NPCs. It's
Success.
all happening.
Yeah, that's exciting. In future, we'll have robots that are NPCs.
Like, you already see the dudes like just walking through New York, like city streets, just like literally not paying attention, just like in VR mode. I'm like,
yeah, dude. If it actually worked out that way, I would totally work with like 7 different things open. And like you just like look at different stuff and you like type in the air and stuff. It's really crazy.
I wonder how it's going to affect crime rates. You know, like people just not paying attention to their surroundings and just
That's true. That's an easiest jacking of your life.
It's an easy lick.
Yeah, but they probably got everything recorded.
It's true. It's a good point.
Yeah, true.
Is there like a camera on the front of that? Is that how that works? Is there like an actual camera?
I mean, I don't know how deep we are into this rabbit hole, but I remember on Netflix there was a show called Black Mirror, and they did a lot of this stuff, and it was like the Neuralink stuff. And honestly, at the time when I was watching, I was like, "That's crazy." But I mean, to be honest with you, it's pretty much why wouldn't you use a lot of it? But they have like the memory stuff and go into like a bunch of weird stuff.
Isn't that the episode where like he like kept rewinding to his wife cheating on him or something like that?
Well, that was part of it. It's actually a really cool show, to be honest.
Yeah, Black Mirror's messed up.
It's really messed up, but in an interesting way.
For sure.
Like if you're looking for something morbid and dark.
It's today's Tales from the Crypt. Do you remember Tales from the Crypt with the Crypt Keeper? It's not the same, but
Yeah.
That was like the creepiest show I remember growing up with the Crypt Keeper and everything.
I mean, that guy creeped me out. I thought the Tales sucked.
Yeah, I don't remember any of it.
But you know what I mean? Like what you remember was the little robotic guy talking to you.
Do you remember? I watched Are You Afraid of the Dark the other day with my kids. Remember that one? It was Nickelodeon. Yeah.
I've never seen
Zeke
that one.
the Plumber. You remember?
Zeke the Plumber. I didn't grow up with Nickelodeon. I was poor, Donna didn't care about cable.
You were poor? You went to private school. I didn't.
You have no idea. Youngest of 5 children, Broc.
So, like, what do you do if you're poor, the youngest of 5, and you have all older sisters? Like, do you just like was that the start of cross dressing or what?
You just do what you're told. That's what you do.
The beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
Nah. Normally, guys who have older sisters like that are either really feminine or really masculine.
Where would you rate yourself?
I don't feel very either, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I feel very in the middle.
Just a balance.
I don't know. I've always been very comfortable. I've never had any insecurities about that stuff. I know plenty of guys that do.
Would you paint your fingernails?
No, but I don't want to.
Okay.
But what if you had like a daughter and she wanted to paint your fingernails? Would you?
I mean, if she really wanted to, yeah, but I'd immediately brush off. See, to me, the painting the fingernails isn't the weird. It's like I really want this or I really hate this. It's actually weird, right?
That's fair.
Like, if you want the fingernails.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the guy who's like fighting, like, I don't want this. It's like, well, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Just as weird as like, well, I really want this. It's like, well.
See, I always see guys, I didn't even understand. I didn't realize how like prevalent this was. Like a lot of dudes paint their toenails, or at least like let their daughters paint their toenails. Because I don't know, as you guys know, I do jiu-jitsu and I got like a little footsie thing going on when I do jiu-jitsu. So I see a lot of toes.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised about the
toe guy.
Yeah, big toe guy. You'd be surprised about the percentage of men.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised at the percentage of men that actually have like their toenails painted.
It's the plural of toga.
Toga.
I'm going to chalk that up to a generational thing.
No. I'm talking like
every age.
Yeah, like I'm talking older guys, like dads, and I'm not talking my age dads. I'm talking like,
but it's from their daughters. Or is it from,
their
I could understand that. I probably wouldn't even take it off. Be like, yeah, go for it. I don't care. Nobody sees my toes.
Yeah.
And then I go to jiu-jitsu and somebody give me shit for it.
Dude, no, I said, I like your toes. Those are nice.
Yeah. I've painted my fingernails before.
Really?
Clear coat. Yeah. Anytime you do a bodybuilding show, you get a spray tan.
Yeah, makes sense.
And if you don't clear coat your fingernails, they'll dye the fingernails and you'll have brown fingernails for months until
get a little Frenchy.
No,
I've never thought of it really as like, I mean, obviously more women get manicures, but I've really never once thought to myself, I'm like, oh, that guy's going to get a manicure. Like it's a feminine thing. Like it's just more women do it.
Yeah.
So if that's what makes it feminine.
I mean, I would probably say that I've thought it's feminine most of my life, but I would probably do it I pick my fingernails and they're nasty. So I probably let them go, chop away.
You got little finger nubs?
Yeah. Just in the cuticles. I don't have any cuticles. I just rip the fuckers off. I don't, like, oh, there's a cuticle growing in. It's like, all right.
Jesus.
I play, you can't have nails and play guitar. So I've always bitten my nails before I play the guitar, to be fair.
Oh, okay.
But
are your fingertips calloused?
Yeah, of course They've been calloused for years though, so it's not a big deal.
Is that a big hit with the ladies, or?
I mean, it's kind of weird when it's only one hand. I will say about that. Like, I never think about it, but when I feel my hands, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
It's like my left hand.
You got to learn how to play with the other one. So.
I know. The best guitarists are righties who are left-handed people who play on right-handed guitars.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have more coordination on the hand. You need it more. It makes total sense.
Yeah, I can see that.
But a lot of lefties don't want to switch to left-handed guitars or play right-handed guitars.
Okay.
It's like the most. It's like I know. It's like such a weird anomaly.
Stupid lefties.
I know. Same thing with baseball.
Together.
Left hand, or like if you're right-handed and you have left eye dominant, you're the best like hitting.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
I'm right-handed, left eye dominant.
Gosh, you should have been amazing at hitting.
Whenever it's unfortunate whenever you shoot a shotgun or like a rifle or something, they want you to hold it on your left shoulder, and I'm like, sorry guys, I'll just use my shitty eye. So
you should look over it.
No, I just close the left eye.
You just don't hit.
I just don't even. No, I'm pretty fucking good. You know, I'm pretty good. You give me a BB gun in my backyard.
If you're really good doing that, I bet you'd be amazing in your left shoulder.
Yeah, probably. I can hit what I want. I'm not sure.
Have you ever tried it in your left shoulder?
I went to summer camp Rock Springs with my kids, and the guy's like, "Are you left eye or right eye dominant?" I'm left eye dominant. Okay, you're gonna want to hold it on this side. And I tried, and I felt so retarded.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, God, I feel like first time having sex. Like this is awkward. You know, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this. Where does everything go? You know, that kind of thing.
I still feel that way.
I was like, sorry, guy, and I switched. Well, you know, and then I switched it to my right side, and then I still missed most of the clay pigeons. But.
It's like that, you know. Like sometimes your first time, it's never the best.
The first time can't be the best.
Yeah,
it would be really disappointing if it was.
If that was your best time, like you're screwed. Like it's going to take 20 years before you're like, damn, this is
a horrible segue. But I remember what I remember from that Rock Springs shotgun thing was, I think Jeff Campbell talking about how he was really good at shooting clays.
Yeah,
and my mom hit more clays than Jeff.
Dude, Jeff was the one that came to mind when you said the people that were playing like left-handed and dominant, you know, things like that. Because he always played baseball. He was right-handed, but he batted left-handed or something like that. Right?
Supposedly, it's a huge advantage, but you know, I don't really see it.
Yeah,
like growing up like left-handed.
I don't think Jeff had an advantage.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like,
I was going to go back to another point before John took it back to Jeff.
So segue again.
Yeah. I was segueing back to what we were. If you're saying it, like, are you saying it takes like 20 years? Does that mean like, do old people have the best sex?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah. If you know where to, you know, the right buttons to push, you know, it's just a matter of learning. So
what you're saying is familiarity is okay.
Well, this is a gruesome kind of way to put it, but is your hand better or somebody else's? You know yourself better than anybody else just from sheer experience and the feedback loop.
A good analogy for your argument.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you're saying like one night stand is always going to be worse.
Always going to be terrible. Yeah. Always going to be terrible.
Unless you're that drunk.
Well, yeah. If you could release all of your inhibitions and be completely comfortable on both people, you might have something okay. But I think that takes time.
So you heard it here first in the No Club. The elderly have the best sex.
I think so.
Or is there like that's what I was about to ask. Is like, is there like a diminishing?
I think it goes.
Like
it gets better. Yeah. It's got to get better and better and better and better, and then it hits a peak. And I'm wondering, where's the peak? You know, is it 40 years? Is it 50 years old? You know, and then at some point it goes down.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the sex drive goes down. You get maybe a little lump noodle.
The actual organ kind of goes down.
Yeah. You know, you got to start taking some Viagra. You know, there's this new stuff that they take. So Viagra's old school. Now you just get a straight injection to your penis, and it'll give you this little tiny thing. You put it right in there, and that's what,
of course, it is.
Porn stars are using. Doctors are recommending it now. It's everybody, and it's like guaranteed. Like you just do this tiny little injection.
Ever since 2020, doctors' recommendations don't mean as much.
That's true.
Ozempic for your dick.
That's pretty much what it is.
Got a fat dick.
Yeah, I got a.
Whoa. You can skinny it right up, you know.
Ozempic.
It's not bad.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. I like where we're headed.
This is going to be the best episode, guys.
But like, I've always wondered that, when you're young, you're like, I gotta get it in now because I'm gonna be old and wrinkly and it's not gonna be fun anymore. Like, you kind of have the thought that like your golden years of that kind of stuff is at the beginning.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think I think you learn to take your time and enjoy the process. There's no rush. Like you're not just trying to just like get it over with. It's just like, this is, I enjoy this. Let's make it a thing, whatever it is.
And that is a good point. It's hard to like take your time and enjoy it in high school because you're like on a dirt road in the back of your car trying to crank it out before you get caught by someone. So I mean,
you don't know how half the stuff works yet. At that point, like you got, it's like I know the basics, like it does this, but after that, there's so much more to it.
Yeah. Time for enjoyment's not a priority in high school.
No,
so,
I didn't really
college
do much in
at
high
any
school.
point for any man in life actually during that.
No,
it was like that's a good point. When do you feel like men start getting into like I don't know a better way to put it other than like foreplay. Like when do men start getting into foreplay thing?
I don't know. Some probably never do, but
it's probably when they realize they can't last that long.
Exactly.
You got some compensation.
Probably by the second or third time you're done within 5 minutes, you realize your wife probably needs a little more than that. I would imagine
that's just part of the game. It's just the warm up has got to get going. It's like going to the gym and doing your stretches and doing your dynamic stretches.
The amount of guys they know that skip warming up, though. Ironically enough,
can't skip the warm up.
I'm just saying, most guys do.
You got to gradually turn the temperature up. You can't just flip the light switch on like guys do. It's just how it is. My wife's gonna love this episode.
No, that's fair.
She listens every episode. She loves them. So it's talking about our sex life all over the podcast. The 12 people that listen, it'll be good.
Oh well. It's fine. It's fine. That's a good point because men can cold start pretty easy.
True.
And like get to their destination immediately. Like when women cold start, it takes a while. Or somebody ends up out of the soiree a little less than happy.
I could be in the middle of lunch and get the offer, and I'm like, "Yep, I'm ready to go. Let's go."
Food and mouth still.
Don't even care. And then, but it's not.
I remember someone using the analogy, and it's very simple but very true. Is men are microwaves, women are ovens.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's
the most like little kid analogy ever, but it's totally true.
Yeah,
it's a great analogy for you.
So, like, does the extreme sex drive come from like people always say women don't understand what it's like to have this much testosterone. Like, does the actual like sex drive that men have, that abundance of it, actually come from testosterone? Or
100%.
So you're telling me that if I just gave my wife test authority, she might want to have sex with me more?
Yeah, I don't know if test authority will do it, but if you gave her exogenous testosterone, if you gave her a shot of testosterone, she would be ramped up quite a bit.
I would love to get a couple women on here that are on some, extracurriculars when it comes to like weightlifting.
Oh yeah.
And like ask about that. Like that's very interesting. Yeah. Like I'm intrigued now.
Yeah. No, for sure. They definitely would notice a difference. I don't think it's exclusively testosterone for men. There's other stuff going on. But like, testosterone is the driver. That's why, 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds are just considered like the horniest because testosterone's peaked at that point,
Yeah, their tolerance isn't up yet.
Yep, that's right.
Rookie numbers.
Rookie numbers for sure.
No, that's I don't know. I've always wanted women to like have to experience that like type of.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to experience what they go through that similar period. To be fair,
there's some of them when they get pregnant that it like accelerates drastically. Like there's some women during pregnancy, their sex drive is the highest it's ever been.
That was always my favorite part about my wife being pregnant.
Yeah, and that didn't happen for me. My wife was just like throwing up and gagging most of the time, so it was it's fun.
No, I understand. It's rough. Like it usually doesn't kick into like the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
The last like 6 weeks, like get this thing out of me. Yep. I want to go on walks. Literally, my wife would walk on a curb, like one foot on a curb, just trying to inch this thing out and whatnot.
Oh, dude, you get desperate towards the end of a pregnancy. We're like, man, when is this thing going to just hurry up and get out of here? Because Nicole was awesome. Nicole was overdue.
We had to get. Yeah, Atticus got evicted. We had to get what's it called? Where you get
induced
C-section? Yeah.
Evicted. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You got straight up evicted.
It's a good life lesson.
Don't overstay your welcome.
All three of our kids were induced, so it was. She was always overdue.
Really?
Yeah.
They just want to make sure they're well done. That's fine.
And they were good.
Yeah. That's. Oh God, John, I just cannot wait if you ever have that.
Oh, I'm sure it sounds awesome. Everyone has positive, encouraging things to say about it. Every time I ask about it, they're always like, it's such a joy. Everyone leads with the positive things. It's one of my favorite things about childhood and marriage. Everyone's like, oh, you're not married? You don't have children? And they tell you all the positive things about it. Yeah, not once in my life has anyone ever said that.
That's fair.
But why is it that y'all just bitch so much about it? I don't understand. Like,
it's just easier to bitch.
Way easier to bitch.
You just lead with that, though.
If I were like, oh, John, my 2-year-old climbed into bed with me and cuddled with me this morning, and my heart melted, you'd just be like, what's wrong with you?
But I'm actually serious. Like, why don't you ever hear? Like, you just only negative things. And I'm not even saying with you guys. I'm talking about other people.
Sure,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like the overstressed mom that's just like, not today, and it's like.
Yeah.
Oh, why?
It's this interesting thing with kids where it's like this massive combination of stress, but lots of enjoyment and pleasure. But like the two are intermingled so much you can't separate them.
Mm-hmm.
So like you will absolutely, it's like you want to enjoy your kids and you're stressed out at the same time. And like, what do you do?
And then you have the guilt of society on you, like on like your like what you should be doing. They have like shows on like Bluey where they have like these great dads who seem to never even go to fucking work and just always has time to play with them.
Comparison is the thief of joy thing, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
fair enough. It's just
I think it's more so an investment too, because you realize that like I don't know who's gonna really want to hang out with me in 20 years. Maybe my kid will.
I'm happy you said investment, but why imagine telling someone else you really need to invest in this, never telling them any of the positives?
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's more than fucking fair.
That's a good point. I feel like with parenthood, like it's your duty to go find your own positives or like what you see. Like I don't know.
I think it's pretty easy. The positives are there because it's literally a miniature me. So like I like you. Like you're just like me. Like that's the positive. Like you're exactly like me. You think what I think is funny. Like,
I'm not saying this as a cynical outsider. I'm saying is like, y'all, do you even like your kids?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm saying is I believe you do.
Yeah.
Like most people do. They just, it's like, it seems like if I asked them, they wouldn't tell me all the things they love about their children. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's just the same. People just focus on the negative. I think is all it is. It's easier to bitch than it is to be like, oh, I'm so happy.
You know how in psychology, when people are like not present, like for example, when somebody dies or you lose a relationship, as time goes on, you tend to remember the good the most and not so much the bad.
Sometimes,
yeah. Sometimes. Well, I think it's reverse, where it's like when you're constantly in the stimuli of it, like you underappreciate it. So like when you go on like work trips or you're gone for a little bit, you don't see them for a while, then you're like, okay, like this is like, you get kind of more in touch with like reality and whatnot, but the day-to-day grind, you're just so caught up in like, oh fuck. You know, it's never.
We do it every time Nicole and I will go somewhere out of town without the kids. We're like, oh yes, freedom. And then like the next day we're like, oh, I wish they were here and they could see this stuff. And like, they would really think this was cool. And like, oh man, they would love this trip. You know, we went to Maine and we're like, the kids would love this. Now it's still cool being by ourselves.
Yeah.
But you know, there's that part comes in, you get a little separation and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, you know, I wish they were here.
Sure.
Like
but they're like fighting with each other the whole time. So you got 3 boys, like and then it's one kid complains, and then 3 seconds later the next kid complains, and then 3 seconds later the next kid complains, and that's your life.
Yeah.
For the rest of it.
Just prove my exact point.
My dad's probably my dad still gets it. That's exactly. My dad will get it. We'll just call him and like bitch about each other or something. And Wayne's like 70 something. So
it's like, God damn it, when will this end? When is it gonna
ever leave me alone? Like, sorry, you went into business with your kids now.
That's funny. No, I don't know. It's funny. Like, what do you say? Like, when you first figured out you were going to be a dad, was the like, I don't know. Like, what were you thinking about? Like, what events were you looking forward to the most?
Dude, I was 20. So
I was 21.
Yeah.
So.
I was 20 when I learned I was going to be a dad. 21 when I had my kid.
When I learned I was going to be.
Yeah, when we found out, it's kind of like, oh, I guess we are.
I think I understand the wording.
Okay, all right. This is cool. I guess let's go for it. That was pretty much it. I didn't really think much about it. I expected to be 30 years old without any kids, 30 years old unmarried, and I had kids at 21, married at 21. So 9 years before I planned it.
It's kind of funny how you have that like expectation when you're in like high school or whatever, because I was like, about 25, I'm going to start like maybe trying to settle down and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, here I am, not even 25. settled down.
Yep. 25. By 26, I had 3.
26, you had 3?
At 26, I had 3.
Well, did you ever wake up as like a 26-year-old and be like, what the fuck did I?
All the time. All the time. I felt like I was 35 when I was in my 20s.
That's how I feel now, because it's hard, because it's like all my friends are like going like, they go out to the bars all the time, or it's like they can take a trip to New York City, just them, and it's like no fucking.
Absolutely,
it's easy. There's no money to it.
Yeah. Well, Johnny can go wherever he wants every weekend, so he's not working. You want to go up and meet your girlfriend up in Nebraska?
Yeah, and it was that easy.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's sometimes, there's obviously grass is green on either side, but my sister. Well, who do I know that's never going to listen to this? I know people. It's like when you get them behind closed doors, they tell you the truth about stuff, and it's just like, yeah, dude, yeah, that sounds awesome. It's also awesome, like getting into bed at like 7 p.m. and like there's nothing else making sounds in your life. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying
it's different.
Yeah, exactly. There's always two sides to it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you feel like people that like? Do you think the environment people grow up in has a lot to do with like what they want or desire for their future? I guess like with family thing, like.
So you mean like what family they grew up in?
Yeah, like for example, John loves like just quiet, being alone, like his own like freedom and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, John was like the youngest of 5.
Okay.
And so it was always loud, always fucking rowdy, always something going on. So I would assume that like.
Do you want a short answer to this, or do you want the long answer?
I want the long one.
In my honest opinion, I think everyone's going off of there's probably 3 main fears, the easiest way to boil it down. And most people are operating off of one of those their whole life, in my opinion. Usually it's either fear of like failure, abandonment, or like, well, I actually forget the other one, of course. But I think that's what a lot of it is.
Is failure and abandonment?
Well, I'm just saying, like, you can, like, what you're, like, kind of going off of. I'm just saying I've always felt, like, really content in some of those ways. So maybe that is why I'm, like, a little more, like, content in some of those other ways. But I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah, because I feel like that has a lot to do with it. And, like, on how you look at relationships or anything like that. Or kids, anything. Because, I don't know. I think, for example, boomers were very bad about having kids and a family seem like such a horrible thing, right? Because they just constantly bitch about it, to where like millennials, your guys' generation, like my generation, like we're so afraid of like the nuclear family or the family concept because of like the commitment it takes, the stress that goes along with it and whatnot. It's just easier to be single and have no commitments and whatnot. So I find that interesting. I think there's an attack on the nuclear family by that generation. And then they turn around and be like, what the fuck is happening here? Why are all these dudes kissing each other?
It's true. There's definitely an attack on the nuclear family. And I think a lot of it is when there's not a nuclear family, there's an easier way to control people. And I think that's the biggest one. So nuclear family is a strong unit. Like you got your own unit of mom and dad and kids. Like those parents are going to be fighting for those kids. And there's a reason for it. When you're single and you don't have kids or something like that, or if you're single and have a kid, it's a lot harder to be involved, a lot harder to fight, a lot harder to pay attention, and things you give a shit less about because you don't have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that stuff changes really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like when, imagine what exactly you were thinking about before you had Braden.
Yeah, like being a jacked bodybuilder.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I'm not saying, obviously, Braden is a blessing.
Yeah,
but your whole plan for your life.
Yes.
Immediately changed once you got that news.
Yes, for sure.
And not in a bad way, once again, just in a change.
For sure.
So it's I don't know. I think it's great. I'm just saying it's crazy how that stuff happens all of a sudden to so many people, and by happenstance for most of them.
I mean, it was very quick. Like Nicole and I met, or we got together in like February of 2009, right? Braden was born February of 2010. Mm-hmm. And by that time we had bought a house, moved in together before, December-ish. We had moved in together in the house. And like, I was like 21, owned a home, had a kid. It was really strange. 20, I guess I bought my house at 20, but it's never would have expected.
Not in this economy.
No, back then the house was 125,000. Now it's like 225 or something like that.
I don't know. So, I think there's a lot of reasons you could talk about the birth rate and the nuclear family and all that stuff, dude. I think it's just the Western philosophy.
Yeah.
Everything about us is like got to go inside and find deep and find out who you are. Like, that's not how other cultures are.
Really?
Nah, not at all.
What do you mean? Like, so are you saying Western culture has a lot more introspectiveness?
I'm saying the end result of what we've started, I think, has ended up with go find yourself. Happiness is within yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no servanthood. There's no sense of community. There's no goal. It's the us. We all want our own shit, and we want it for us. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm really not. There's tons of good that have come out of this evil Western shit. Sure. But I think that's what's the actual end result of it.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
That makes sense to me, at least.
Yeah.
Like I mean, that definitely does make sense. Another thing I might see is like
I would disagree though.
Is the critique. I'll come back to you on why you disagree. So is I feel like people are so afraid of being critiqued and told they're wrong and whatnot that you almost have people afraid to make a decision or make decisions that can have like negative things said about it or consequences or anything like that. So you basically have people at an impasse where they just cannot make a decision to do anything or to like. So it's just easier to not. Right. So that's kind of how I observe it as.
Yeah, paralysis by analysis kind of thing. Like, I don't know what to do, so I just don't do anything.
Yeah.
No, I think the West, generally speaking, is very, and it's not just the West, but I think that society has changed over time. And the West in general is very pleasure-seeking, very much about me and my life. And is my life going to be what I wanted it to be? Do I get enough, fun and free time? And do I make enough money? And like all that stuff. And I think that's infiltrated into it. So now people are like, I don't want kids because I couldn't do the things that I want to do, with kids. I couldn't afford them. I couldn't, have the freedom to go and do the things that I want.
I need to find myself, and I don't.
Yeah, it could be that they want to find themselves, or it's the fact that they're just.
But it's just everything
selfish people.
Yeah, but it's everything about me. Why do you disagree with that?
What do you mean?
You said you disagree with what I said. Like,
yeah, you said that they go inside and find themselves, and I think they go outside and find pleasure. And that's what I think
for them. I guess you're.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think you're actually disagreeing. We're saying the same thing in a different way.
That's fair.
It's all about their own pleasure.
Yeah, their own selfish. Like it's all about me. So life's about me, and so for that reason, I don't want kids because kids take away my money. I don't want kids because kids will take away my time. I don't want kids because they put a burden on me. But I will take a dog because I unlock it in a kennel and things like that, and it's cheap and it doesn't take much effort. And a dog is the new kid for the millennial and Gen Z generations.
Yeah, we're saying the exact same.
Okay.
Exactly.
Or you can get a kid and 2 dogs.
Yeah. I had 3 kids and 3 dogs.
Oh, dude, so, I want a 3rd dog so bad. I'm like, I can't get the 3rd dog. I know it's too much.
3rd dog's a lot. It has to be a real chill one.
Yeah.
Like if you get one that goes crazy, it'll be miserable.
You're gonna be that person with hair everywhere.
It's already everywhere.
I already am that person with hair everywhere. It's too late.
Just know people don't want to come over.
It's the downside to having a dog. That is the biggest one.
I vacuum 3 or 4 times a week for sure.
Yeah. Vacuum more.
It doesn't even matter.
Disgusting.
You can't avoid it. Just like my kid picked up we have these little foam sword lightsaber kind of things. They like to hit. It's like PVC pipe covered with foam, and we like battle with them.
I'm very familiar.
Yeah, they handed me one this morning and wanted me to fight him, and then like we hit him together, and then I just saw dog hair fly off of him whenever we were hitting him, and I was just like, dude, I'm just gonna get dog hair all over my shirt playing with these things, but. The dog, it just attracts the dog hair, and the golden retriever just shits like crazy. So,
hey, I got a white husky, so
yeah, that didn't help. My Saint Bernard was like that too, just with the drool and on top of it. And dude, she'd come in the summertime, and it was the worst. She would come in the summertime, and she would be drooling. It'd be like dripping off her jowls and like hanging there, like you'd have this big like snot looking thing like hanging off her jowls. And she obviously didn't like it because she would walk inside, and the first thing she would do, she'd come over to you. And she would wipe it on your pants. And then you'd look down and you'd go, ugh, gross. So the St. Bernard was one of the best dogs and at the same time, one of the hardest because of the drool and the hair. But never would run away, never would growl or bite or do anything like that. You could jump on top of her as a kid and the kids, she'd just lay there and love it and things like that. So best dog, but,
it sounds like if you're a dog person, you'd love it.
Yeah, she was a good dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd get another St. Bernard. They're so big. And take up so much room. And
generally what I hear about people that have enormous dogs. Yeah. They love them. And then the moment they're gone, that's it.
Mine only lived like 7 years before she got bone cancer too. So that's a pretty short life for a dog. 7 years is not very long. Yeah.
Like I always get sad about because I'm like, fuck, my dogs are going to,
I have one that right now that's 15 years old. And I bought him. He's older than my kids. I got him from the pound before Braden was born, like in December. Braden was born in February. And he's still kicking, and he's 15 years old.
Right on.
He could live. He's a little smaller. He could be lived 17, 18. He's got some Chihuahua in him that's going to live like 20 years. So
go get it, little guy.
I'll be okay. I'll be okay when he dies, though. Jax is not my favorite dog. So. He's very, he's very sweet, but Jax is more of a pain than
I don't
else.
actually think I have a problem with people and pets and the death thing, but I do remember specifically within the month of my dad having passed away, my friend telling me about how sad he was about his cat. And I don't think he realized, I don't know. I just remember that's just seared in my head. I'm just like, yeah, fuck your cat, dude.
I don't think people could realize it until it happened.
He obviously wasn't doing it on purpose.
Obviously.
I'm just saying, just in general, it's got to be horrible to lose an animal.
For sure.
It's got to be.
Well, and in some ways it's different. A human being can communicate with you where an animal can't. Obviously, a human is a much bigger loss. And I think that until somebody experiences that, I've never had to experience that in my life.
Well, sure. It's obviously not a competition. A loss is a loss.
For sure. I just think there are differences that make both of them tough. Obviously, your dog, you can't. I'm taking my dog to the vet to put it down or something like that. It has no idea what's going on.
Taking my dad to the vet.
Yeah, I'd take my dad up to Canada.
Save some cash.
I took my dog to the vet. I had to put one of them down. She had spleen cancer and was just about to die, so I put her down. It was tough. I still, every once in a while we'll bring up my St. Bernard or something like that. Yeah. Whatever it is, the tears just start forming and rolling. I'm not really thinking about it. It's just part of the process, I guess. So,
a lot of people consider their animals part of their family.
They do. Yeah,
they are. They're literally part of the family. Like LeBron, LeBron helps me get up every morning, gets up with the baby. He's a chill guy. He's a chill dude.
My St. Bernard was tall enough so that on my bed, she would just be standing there and she'd be in my face, just standing. And she would just lean over to me and she'd just go, and it's I knew she wanted me to get up. And it was anytime, but she didn't breathe like that normally. It was on purpose to wake me up. And that was it. She would just stand there. I'm I look over, there she is. I'm all right, I guess we got to go outside. Let's go. But when she took a dump in the house, which happened every once in a while, it was massive. Jeez. You would not flush it down the toilet.
No, you could have.
You have to put it in a grocery sack or something. We'll pick it up and put it in a grocery sack and then tie the grocery sack and go throw it in the trash. That's how we do it.
Who scooped the backyard?
Nobody scoops the backyard. No. The kids complained for a long time. They're like, "Oh, scarlet poop everywhere." I'm yeah, just watch out.
Just dodge it. Just dodge it.
Then she died. So I was well, now you guys can go out there.
You happy now?
Happy now, assholes. No, they have those services. There's somebody that comes to my neighborhood, Scoop and Do company or something. It's $7-8 a week or something, and they'll come and clean your backyard up.
It's worth it.
I got kids, so that's probably their job. So
yeah, mine's not old enough yet. My wife was doing it for a little bit, but
one of the best things we ever did was when we homeschooled them, we started implementing lots of chores every day, and then they do all the chores every day. So they get vacuum, clean the dishes, clean off the counters, gather the plates, feed the chickens, water the chickens, clean off the poop on the back patio where the dog that's 15 years old won't walk all through the grass. Dude, I go out there and he's literally, he will go off the steps because it's a concrete patio, drops down the steps. And then if I don't do anything, he'll just pee right there. And then he will walk 3 feet and then he'll take a dump. And so I have to point and say, go. And he will walk and look back at me halfway and keep walking. And then he'll finally go out to the grass.
I get a shot collar and rock his ass every time he
does. He would.
What a privilege.
You touch this dog and he yelps. You don't even have to scare him. You just barely touch him and he'll yelp at you. So, shocking dog collar. He probably would think he was going to die. Even the lightest shock, he would just be, it probably would just poop just flying. Because he didn't know what to do. Slips right out of his butt. Doesn't even matter. You think you're stopping him with the button and it just all comes out.
You're just helping him.
Evacuation. Way faster. Yep.
So I've seen homeschooling get a lot more popular. So what's your experience on that? If for parents out there that are, maybe interested in that aspect of education for their kid, but they just don't quite know yet. What do you have to say about it?
Well, you definitely realize how much time they waste in school all day long. All day long, it's just a waste. And then you realize how much of an advantage you have homeschooling. And it's really just the simple things if your kid is good at math, but not as good at reading or something. You give them extra time in reading and you go and you do extra spelling or something like that. And the nice thing is you don't move at the class's pace. Like in a class, when you have 15 kids in a class or 10 kids in a class, whatever it is, one kid's going to get it instantly and ready to move on. One kid is going to be way back behind and left behind whenever you move on anyway. With my kids, whenever they're doing fractions in math or something like that, which is difficult and hard, and most of us don't understand fractions still, you just work on fractions till they understand it. So I think the school aspect is definitely better. It's hilarious that people think that just a regular person couldn't teach kids certain things, but it's like you read the fucking chapter in the book and then you just teach the kids what the chapter says. It's really not rocket science. It's not hard. We've all done it before. The downside to the socialization. What
he's saying is teachers are not underpaid. They're adequately paid.
I was just waiting for your whole thing to ask them that question. But, go ahead.
Teachers could be. There are phenomenal teachers out there.
Sure,
absolute phenomenal teachers. Unfortunately, it's 1 in 1,000 is a phenomenal teacher, and unfortunately, like 900 out of 1,000 are just shitty teachers. And so maybe you have 100 good teachers, 1 phenomenal teacher, and 900 shitty teachers. So it's 1,001, I guess, right? But that's the way I look at school. I look at it like that. Most teachers are not good. Most teachers are not.
Teachers are adequately paid.
That's a tough answer. I think you'd get better service out of the teacher and a better performance if they were paid more. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think if you emphasize the pay structure and made teaching and learning in America like a dominant thing, where like this is one of the most important things that we think is out there.
So you think
you get the fucking government bullshit and crony capitalism bullshit out of it, right? Because
so more or less, you think we're getting what we're paying for with teachers right now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
you get what you pay for. They're not going to pay them super high. You're going to get the people that are not looking for a super high wage, that are going for, that are okay being a teacher and not necessarily wanting a performer. The guy that could be a phenomenal teacher that goes and work at Koch Industries for $150,000 or $250,000 a year, he's never going to consider being a teacher.
Sure.
But he's a genius of a man that can explain things very well to people. And unfortunately, the 30, 40, 50,000, whatever they're paying a teacher in different areas, is just not gonna entice that guy.
That's fair. I view our police system kind of the same way.
The what system?
The police system.
Police. Yeah, police is the same way.
It's the exact same thing.
Like it's what happens when government gets involved. Government gets involved and they fuck it all up. And so that's really it.
So why is that only an us issue? Like, why do you see other countries not running into issues like this? Or maybe they are and we just don't see it.
Probably the $887 billion that we spent on defense. That's probably why.
Yeah, probably doesn't help.
I think China was like $200 billion, and that's the next closest one. So we spent and that's just the money. We were talking about this earlier. That's just the money you know about.
That's what they report.
That's what they report. That's not the money that they created from the CIA selling fucking drugs throughout America or something, right? That's
FBI,
not them running things in other countries where they're making money in other countries. There could be, another, billions of dollars coming through. Think about how much money they were making in drug trade for somebody like Pablo Escobar.
Well, dude, I remember someone saying it to me a couple of years ago, and I just started laughing because it's like, dude, when's the last time you heard the AIDS coming for us?
Yeah.
Ever.
Never
in your life. Yeah. Once.
No.
We're the world's ATM, bro.
Yeah.
100%. And I don't know why more people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Like
they're realizing it.
Well, yeah, I guess.
See, 2008, whenever I was rooting for Ron Paul back when I was in college, and like Ron Paul was like the shit, and he still is, by the way. And Ron Paul's talking about no foreign aid for the countries and no intervening and dropping bombs on other countries and things like that. Like there's no reason to go over to Iraq and Afghanistan. And this was a radical thought in the Republican Party in 2008.
Yeah.
Everybody laughed at Ron Paul. He was
We'd all be speaking German if we thought like that, Ron. Yeah, that's what you hear.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's not the 40s anymore.
No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works.
I know.
He's not a war guy. It's that when war happens, you should declare it through Congress and go over and kick their fucking asses and get out. Instead of dragging it on and dragging it on.
Instead of just parking a warship on the bank.
No, they've gotten around it because they can only send so many troops with, by the president has authority to send so many troops and Congress has the authority to approve so much money and things like that for military operations that are not war. And so they'll just that's where we had $2 trillion or something for the Iraq war or something of that nature. And it added it to our deficit, and that wasn't even a war. We didn't declare war. We just went over there and we were trying to fix their country, I guess, and get rid of all the terrorists over there, which just created more terrorists.
Fix their country and get some oil and whatnot.
It's not just the oil. It's actually like when you destroy the country, it has to be rebuilt. And when it has to be rebuilt, who do you think gets those contracts? American companies. American companies go over there. The other one I saw was Ukraine. They talk about Ukraine, and it's like, who do you think has the most fertile soil in the world? It's Ukraine. Who do you think is going to get that soil when this stuff happens? It's going to be the American pharmaceutical companies and things like that need to grow crops and things that are very highly profitable for them in those areas. So it's
the thing that bothers me is that people act like we're just so doomed and there's nothing we can do. There is something we can do.
Yeah.
It's just they're not doing it.
For sure.
Like, oh, we're just so screwed. It's like, no, dude, we could fix the education system. I'm pretty sure, like, really quick.
Well, you just
have to like get some heads rolling.
For sure. But you even saw what happened with GameStop and Nokia and all these things with just a few people intervening. If people actually would coordinate and actually spend their money in the ways that they wanted to, you would immediately change what all the companies are doing.
Yeah.
But everybody still orders off Amazon. Everybody still goes to Target. Everybody supports these companies that they don't necessarily want to support. And then they just do whatever the fuck they want. And whenever you want to, buy an index fund, you're buying a Vanguard index fund or a BlackRock or something like that. You're investing in these different massive companies. And then they're buying up all the companies and telling them how to run their shit. And it's just eventually everybody has to go a different direction. I think that's the biggest way. The easiest, biggest way would be for everybody to do like they do with when they're pissed off at a company. Is just spend their money where it matters. But easier said than done, of course.
Amazon's hard to beat.
Yeah. People like spending money too. Americans love spending money.
I saw something the other day, and it was an attorney talking about how we can amend the Constitution through the states.
Yeah,
and you do the Convention of States, and I'm like, that's a very real thing that they could do, and you could implement term limits on all the Congress. You could get rid of lobbying with Congress just by the Convention of States. Probably. Snowflake chance in hell. So this will happen.
I was just about to say, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
0% of me thinks that it's going to be used for good.
No.
That's just going to be, Broc's generation's going to get in there and
I think, dude, you ask the Americans, like
we're all going down.
90% of people would say, yeah, term limits are a good idea. Let's do it.
No, I totally agree with you. It's once again, it's people's inaction.
Yeah.
Or like acting like we can't get this passed. It's like, why not?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you ever talk to someone who doesn't agree with it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's part of one of the reasons we can't get rid of these boomers, bro.
Yeah, the boomers.
You got Jim and Nancy and that what's that old other son of a bitch's name? Mitch. Oh, yeah, there he is. Yeah.
Mitch.
Bot Mitch.
Yeah.
You got Glitch McConnell.
You got Lindsey Graham's up there too.
Yeah, dude.
It's like, what percentage of Congress is over?
Dianne Feinstein
60?
literally died in office. I know.
Like, so,
oh god,
when are these people going to die, Jared? Like, I would think,
sometime in the next 20 years.
Like, I would think like it was coming soon. Like, can you name off a couple of the most horrible things that the boomers did for like health or like fitness or anything?
Health and fitness with boomers, man. Well,
or nutrition.
Boomers would have to be the ones that were involved in the changing of food processing throughout the United States. I mean, that's their age group. Right. True. So 50s, 60s, I guess boomers were born in between 64 and like 46 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Technically, yeah.
So like, I think it's like 67 is the cutoff.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like 45 to 65.
So early boomers would be involved, because if you're born in 67, the food's starting to change, but they've done it, man. The food change would be boomer based for sure. Pharmaceuticals. I'd say that's boomers. They're running the countries at this point in time. So it's really ironic.
No wonder they're still in power.
It's ironic. You took the boomers that were hippies, right? Because all the hippies were boomers.
No, I know. I've heard this. But,
And they all then like completely changed directions and went and became the thing that they hated and despised. And you're like, you were a drug-toting hippie with your no shoes and no socks and no shirt on at fucking Woodstock, sleeping with God knows who. And now you're just like telling everybody else how to live their lives and like fucking our food and
part of the
pharmaceuticals up. And
I mean, obviously we don't have to go down the rabbit hole, but it's part of the reason COVID was so annoying for like a lot of the more libertarian independent people. It's like, what the hell are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Like making this political. Like either way, it was hard to watch.
Yeah, if it was the hippies and COVID came around when the hippies were around, they would not have listened.
Of course they would.
They would have been like, free love, man. Free love. We can get the virus. The virus won't hurt us.
We'll all get the virus together, bro.
Get it together. We'll fight it together.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, where are the real fucking like? I don't know.
It's likely the lead that was involved in their life early on. If you think about it.
They say that about Rome too. Is like one of the things that led to the demise of the Roman Empire. Is that all their piping and their their water supply was lead piping.
Yeah.
So that they think that like that's why they had their like drastic decision making and went to war so much is because it was literally just an empire full of psychopaths.
I could see that. But I mean, with our nation, it's lead paint was one of them, which before 1970, like most of the paints were made with lead. And especially if you ate it, which fucking dumb kids are like eating lead.
Actions have consequences.
Yeah. Then there was leaded gasoline, which is now unleaded now. And that the fumes and things, also, you're breathing that in constantly as it's burning off in the environment and things. And then there was another one. What was it? Pipes, I think is what it was.
Pipes.
Yeah. And so all of these things will add up over time, you know, to a little bit of a, the Karens that we talk about that are boomers that are crazy and like yell at the managers and like don't understand basic things.
One thing I know for sure we can blame on the boomers is the customer's always right mentality.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not a single person I know my age that believes that shit. I don't know how it died or how they killed it, but watching it change in real time has actually been kind of funny.
It is, but it isn't at the same time. The customer's always right is not necessarily true these days, but they are bending over backwards more than ever to give like a refund for a customer or a return or something like that. Like if you complain, go to a restaurant and complain, your meal's free. I mean, immediately. It's like,
that's probably true.
You buy a supplement from us, like we take it back. Yeah. That's back in the day. We used to not take returns in our stores. That's
actually a good point.
In our stores, it was like, hey, this didn't taste very good. And like, well, unfortunately, like we didn't sell you it based on taste. Like supplements don't always taste that good back in the 90s. Like supplements don't always taste that good. But it has the protein content you're looking for and it will work for you. Like if you don't like the flavor, I'm sorry. We can't do anything for you.
Sorry, you're a bitch.
Nowadays, and that's what we would say behind their backs. Like the shit doesn't taste like chocolate pudding. It's fucking protein powder, right? Nowadays, it tastes a lot like chocolate pudding, and it's much better. And people still return shit, but nowadays we take it back because that's the mentality of the world. Is that you need to bend over backwards for your customer more than ever. And there's more competition than ever. So that's probably why is people are always looking for an edge. How can it be better than the other companies? Well, I'll just let you send it back. Like Zappos. Yeah. They started it with you order the shoes. You buy like 5 pairs, try them on, and then just send them back to us, whichever ones you don't like. Sure. Yeah. Now, those you can just sell to somebody else. But a supplement that's been opened, I can't sell that. That's just loss. So I just have to count that as shrink. It's just a loss of revenue. So
I have collected a list of criticisms for baby boomers.
All right, I'm hearing.
All right, so we have number one, environmental impact. Baby boomers have been criticized for their role in environmental degradation, particularly in their contribution to carbon emissions and consumption habits that have led to pollution and climate change.
Next, ZZZ.
ZZZ, indeed.
Go.
Economic inequality. Critics argue that baby boomers have perpetuated economic inequality through policies that benefit older generations at the expense of younger ones, such as inflated housing markets, inadequate retirement savings. Okay. Entitlement mentality.
That's more of what I'm looking for.
How did the national debt change from the baby boomers? Like what did it go from? Did it go from like 0 to like 33 trillion with the baby boomers?
Or, let me figure that out. How much is it?
ChatGPT, answer our question.
Yeah, thank you. So what year should I put in there? Like what should I put as the parameters?
I'd just say baby boomers,
Yeah, it'll answer it for you.
It'll know baby boomers.
How much did the national debt increase?
Under the baby boomers. Let's do it.
I would imagine it's a lot.
Of course it is. It's just in our age.
I know.
Been a ton.
I know. And they're the ones piping up about Social Security. I'm like, what?
They're the ones. They're the ones that are like, you guys just need to stop spending so much money on coffees. Right. You're spending too much on coffees.
It's the lattes that are sinking me.
We didn't eat out that much when I was. I'm like, yeah, bullshit. You didn't.
Yeah, with your $12,000 house.
Yeah. It's like all the ones that are like, I worked a part-time job in college, and that's how I paid for.
Right,
college.
That's the difference.
The part-time job.
It's like.
Like how much was college then? I mean, I worked part-time in college too. And it's like, I barely had enough money to buy the alcohol I wanted to drink.
College was $800.
Yeah.
a semester.
That's the government. The government will fuck anything up if you let it.
I got it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. It likes to be particular. Like sometimes it doesn't want to give you the answers because like ChatGPT likes to be politically correct. And we don't always want to be politically correct.
I just, when it gives me a bullshit answer, I'm like, I just tell it like, what the fuck? Like it said chic on something, like a new chic t-shirt. And I just said, what the fuck is chic? And then it just said, sorry for that. And it corrected it to like be normal.
Yeah.
It's not a word I would use. So I'm like, what the fuck is chic? WTF is chic. And boom, changed it for me back to, I'll take out some of the flowery language. And I'm like, all right, thank you.
You guys will love this one.
Yeah, let's do it.
In 1980.
Yep.
our national debt stood at $909 billion.
Okay. It's not even in the trillions yet.
In 2020, the debt has surpassed $26 trillion.
Yeah. I think it's like 20. Is it 30 in the 33s now?
I thought it was more.
I can tell you right now.
There's a debt clock.
Yeah,
You can go to the debt clock. It just shows you it constantly running up.
Here we go. It is. It is loading. $34.2 trillion.
We're fucked, guys. I'm just telling you.
So hold on, wait. So you're telling me that it has increased $14? No, sorry, that's not. My math's wrong. $9 trillion in 4 years.
Yeah, COVID was a big one.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's your answer as to why we have little buying power in comparison. Like they just print the money to pay for all the stuff that they have to do.
Yeah. Well, now that we're on the topic of how the boomers have fucked us, let's go through some more because we have more.
It'll be cool to see how the people blame millennials in the future for all their problems.
I mean, I guess we're reaching a point where like we kind of need to take over, but like, what is there to take over? You know what I mean?
Well, they'll have to give it up or die, and they just aren't giving it up. So
die.
Mother Nature's going to win eventually.
Nancy Pelosi, like you're going to have to die before she gets out of office. We'll get
a fried out of her cold dead hands.
Absolutely. Yep, she's going to be holding it up like, my cold dead fingers.
What do you think?
Feinstein, bro.
What do you think the leading cause of death is for the baby boomers?
Heart attack.
Ooh, let's figure that out. I'm going to go stroke. No. I think it has to be heart disease.
Yeah, it's heart disease.
It has to be heart disease.
Cancer.
The smokers, yeah.
Dude, they were getting Joe Camel ads back in that shit.
Dude, it was healthy back then.
It was healthy back then. It wasn't bad yet. Like it's
because doctors were literally in bed with Joe Camel.
Weird. It's like they were in bed with them, and then now they're in bed with.
It's almost like doctors get paid to say certain things sometimes.
Okay.
Sorry, doctors.
Not 2024, though.
All right.
You guys are beyond reproach. Nobody should ever criticize you.
It's funny because we had heart disease, cancer, and what was the other one? Respiratory?
You said stroke.
Stroke. Okay. So number one's cardiovascular disease, like heart disease, just anything like that. Strokes, heart attack, strokes.
Yeah,
anything.
it's all of it. Yeah, cardiovascular health.
Number two would be various types of cancer. Okay. So cancer.
Yep.
Number three would be chronic respiratory diseases.
I think respiratory would be one of the worst, to be fair. Like you think about like breathing issues as you're living, like it has to be like the worst out of everything.
Oh fuck yeah! Because like you could be out of breath, like you could be like tired from just sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine feeling like you just ran like suicides and you're just like sitting in your lazy boy,
you're, like gasping for air the whole time? Yeah, dude. That's why COVID was so bad for people when luckily they had this phenomenon with COVID where it was this I don't know, they called them like happy hypoxics, where people would come into the ER and they'd have like a blood oxygen level of like 50%. Like shouldn't be walking around at 50%. And they were in like good moods, didn't even know there was anything wrong. They're just like, I'm just feeling real tired or something. I just want to get checked.
Low energy.
And sure enough, they put them on a thing and they're like, dude, you're like 50% of blood oxygen levels and like you should be dead. And they were walking around, felt just fine.
Did it happen to my wife? It happened to my wife. Like she was at like 60%. It was something crazy. Yeah. And we took her to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, cause so
you're lucky they didn't stick her on a ventilator and just, kill her.
Yeah, I wouldn't have allowed that. I would not allow that. I was
slowly put the pillow over her face.
Yeah.
It's like they just fuck your lungs so bad when they stick that vent in there that like caused so much damage and inflation. Like that's half the problem that they created with the ventilators, I think. So
they're like, oh, this looks like it's organ struggling. Let's just fuck with it a little bit more.
Be like, you know what the best thing is for your lungs? Not moving for the next 2 months. Let's just lay here. Let your body just atrophy completely. Don't exercise anything at all. Where the opposite, like respiratory therapists would be like, you have to exercise your lungs to get them to like
expand again,
recover, fight this.
There's no money in sending people home.
No, there's not.
Yeah, because then you don't get the funeral cost or anything like that. Like, come on.
It was the added, like if they died from COVID, you got a bonus. That's what it was.
So
they tried to refute it, and it's hilarious because it's just been proven over and over that like they got paid extra for fucking COVID.
So no more overrated profession.
I went and broke this down a little bit more. and I went to the causation of each leading cause of death within baby boomers.
Okay.
Because I think that can really then key in on like their personality type and like give us more reasons to shit on them. Like we need more reasons to shit on them.
Yeah.
But,
this is just general like baby boomer. Like both of my parents are baby boomers. I mean, they're crazy in their own ways.
Laughing all the way to the bank.
They're doing great. Yeah, they're doing great.
For the most selfish generation of all time. I respect it. Get what you need.
I don't know about all time. I don't know the other generations.
You think the greatest generation before them was more selfish?
No, probably not.
The ones that stormed Normandy?
the silent gen.
Yeah.
To be fair, they're probably the first generation that had the ability to be very selfish.
That could be.
That's probably the fairest way I could say it.
That could be.
So their cardiovascular disease is contributed to poor lack of diet, high saturated fats, cholesterol, and sodium, lack of regular physical activity, high use of tobacco, stress and inadequate stress management, high blood pressure.
There's an interesting thing. They said saturated fats, cholesterol, and sodium, which is ironic, right? Because cholesterol is necessary for hormone production. Saturated fats, part of all of it too. And so is sodium. Sodium's required. It's an electrolyte in your body. So all of these things that they have as pinpointed as like, these are the problems, right? Not quite.
So this actually like, thank you for bringing this up because I was watching something the other day and I can't pinpoint what it was because I watched so much random shit just to like try to increase my knowledge on stuff. But it was talking about basically how someone who is considered skinny, like has like skinny parameters. I think this guy had a stomach issue.
Yeah.
So he was going on like a meat-based diet and he was a skinnier guy, but his cholesterol was so high. So what they're finding is that you can have irregular, like unhealthy levels of like cholesterol or like it's like L cholesterol or something.
LDL.
Your LDL.
You have two different types, the HDL and the LDL.
Yeah. So what they're finding is like it's not a good measurement off of that because skinny people who have like healthy and good diets have high LDLs and whatnot. So like I feel like we're really relearning like understanding medicine. Like we first came up with all this data that we're able to collect and we have norms, right?
Yep.
And then now we're, what would you call it? Like outlining factors or variables?
No, dude, it's literally just data changing. I hear what you're saying, but it's really simple actually. It's just science advancing and us learning more about it.
To some degree.
I think so.
The old money is the thing you got to consider, right? Because think about the studies they did that showed that butter was the problem and sugar was not. And that was just directly funded by.
Wasn't it completely flopped though? It's like what they're finding now is like the issue is not butter and like and saturated fats, but sugars and whatnot.
Yes. The argument that I'm hearing now, which again, we won't know if it's completely correct or not for a while because it depends on who they can get out. Like who has a lot of money? Well, the people that benefit from high sugar diets, like all these different mega corporations, they've got a lot of influence in the political world.
I do love my diabetes water.
The ranchers, though, that sell meat don't have a lot of influence, right? And so you got to look at where the influence is coming from. But yeah, I think it'll take a while. But what the idea right now they're coming up with is inflammation. That inflammation is actually what's causing all of these. And it's a good argument that, like the clogged arteries or things like that when it comes to cholesterol levels aren't just cholesterol. It's inflammation in the vein itself or in the artery itself, and then the cholesterol getting stuck in that, and it basically causing this like buildup inside of you. And so they're saying that inflammation may be, what's really causing the problem. And everything from inflammation is the types of foods that you eat and things like that.
That's what I was about
changing.
To say is that I've heard this
sugar for sure.
I've heard this for a while. I think it'd be really hard to prove.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's going to be a long time before they do because you're going to have to go back through all of the correlation and causation,
Yeah, that's what I mean with like the diet.
Get the money out of science and, stop letting, whichever Mars candy bar fund the studies or something.
So have we regressed back to our understanding of like physical health and like what healthy is? Because you go back to like ancient Rome and Greece and you see all these sculptures of these dudes who are just absolutely ripped or
just a bunch of dude with no pecs. That's what you see.
Lots of wieners too.
Yeah.
So lots of wieners.
Average size wieners, nothing crazy.
They're not. Yeah, they're just normal.
They didn't bench
completely normal. They're completely normal looking.
Yeah,
guys.
they're flaccid.
Very
too.
Average.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Yeah, they're flaccid wieners. They're not like
that's true.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, nobody wants to see the opposite on a statue. But they were obsessed with showing off wieners in ancient Greece and Rome and stuff. Who knows why?
They just loved the human body.
Yeah, that's fair.
There was an elegance to it.
true question, were there just as many women that were naked in statues where they showed off like their body parts, or is it just dongs?
I've never been to Rome.
Maybe men were seen as like more majestic and beautiful back then.
Yeah, I mean, there's some crazy ones. It was like Michelangelo or something had the David one, and some of those that are like you can see just ridiculous how they do this in marble. I'm like that was amazing, right? We got TikTok now. Nobody's making that shit anymore.
I mean, what I'm saying is like, how did they know that was there though? Like, how did they understand like the human muscle structure so well if it wasn't like a regular thing seeing guys in that shape?
I would imagine that there would have been obviously not that aesthetically pleasing, if you want to call it that. But dude, life was hard back then. Like what's the average? I want to pull it out of my ass, but I'm pretty sure people weren't living past 40.
Well, but you also have to consider like it was hard for certain people, but it was also very easy for certain people. Like Socrates was able to just be a philosopher because they had slaves and they were all rich, right? So the slaves did everything for him and they just got to go to the fucking town hall.
I'm always intelligent enough to put myself as the slave when the feudal system. I love when people talk about that. They're like, oh yeah, I would have been this. It's like, why would you have been the Lord? No, I'm the slave in that example. But I get there's some validity to it, I think.
Yeah. No, I think you got to look at a lot of things, right? One is the food that they were eating back then. It's all whole food. I mean, they really weren't like
there was no processing.
There was no processing. So like the food was as natural as it could get. There was no pesticides. There was nothing like that.
Processing was getting the bread.
Yeah, they milled the bread or something, right? And so very little processing in all their foods, I think, is number one. Activity levels. They didn't have anything that they weren't just sitting in front of a TV or a computer.
Yeah.
They didn't have a cell phone. They were actually doing stuff all the time. And they did have a very strong emphasis on your body and how strong you were and your physical activity, especially in Greece.
Yeah.
You look at like, you remember that, what was it, like 300 or something like that?
Yeah, 300 or whatever.
Spartans. Like there was very much an athletic emphasis on warriors and fighting and things like that, especially in like the ancient Greece, ancient Rome kind of cultures.
I think it's always been glorified to be in great shape.
There's it's a status symbol
nothing
for sure.
New about that, to be fair. I think it's classic confidence. If you have it in yourself, you'll have it in your life.
Yeah. No, I think that there's always, we all have seen genetic freaks that just, look awesome. You can see the striations in their muscles without them hardly working out, right?
Yeah.
It's just, so I imagine that they had the same thing happening. Plus guys that were doing manual labor that were just jacked.
And that's what my first
that they were eating.
Like,
how jacked do you think the guys were that built the pyramids?
The aliens? The giants?
Yeah, the aliens?
The Nephilim? Who is it?
What do they call
I think it's the Nephilim.
The ancient Mesopotamian guys, like they thought that gods came in and used us to mine gold or something like that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. That's what they think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No.
I know that's what John thinks. I know John thinks that we were originally put here to mine gold and that we were just like, we are the aliens.
My favorite answer to the pyramids is who cares?
Whoa. That's not a cool answer.
Whoa.
Yeah. Buzzkill.
Couldn't care less. Saying it on a podcast. Everyone else can figure it out.
So to you, John, what's your biggest if you had to
the greatest mystery of life?
Yeah. Well, if you had the option to get the answer to one thing,
Genie gives you one wish.
Genie gives you one answer to any question. What would you ask?
That's a tough question.
I
don't know. I don't think I'm trying to think of the thing I've wondered about the most in my life. I don't know. That's a tough question.
No mysteries that you want to know.
No, there's a lot. I'm trying to decide the most important one.
Was 9/11 an inside joke?
See, that I already know that one.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to waste my own.
That's what I'm saying. It's I don't want to waste a wish.
Waste the wish.
Yeah, we can come back to it. It's a tough question.
What about you, Jared?
I think I could answer.
Man, it's a tough one. My biggest curiosity, if I could ask anything, I'd probably go back to Jesus. I'd like to know.
You really?
Yeah. I'd like to know more about
what aspect of just what happened, or whether he existed, or
I'd probably be more interested in his life leading up to his public ministry. What was it really like?
The year between 1832 or whatever.
Or even as children, they don't have very much that they talk about him with. There's some of the Gnostic gospels that are the ones they call the false gospels that talk about Jesus growing up as a kid. You don't know if they're real or not. They tell you they're wrong. They're not real. So hopefully they're right. But I'd be curious, what did he grow up like? Did he punch his brothers? Did he fight? Did he take their toys? Or was he too docile, because he was not a docile guy.
Did he get picked on for being like?
Yeah, you just said something interesting. I always like to bring that up. It's like docile. Like I don't think there's anything about that him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he's not a docile guy.
That's what I'm saying. So like, and I know you know that. I'm just saying in general, like it's always weird that there's always this like that's how he was. Even other people in history, obviously, I'm not comparing them to Jesus. Yeah. But it's like these little like tags, or like he was that, so he was that. It's like
No, he was definitely a nonviolent guy. I mean, he was definitely, whenever they came to, arrest him and things, like he didn't fight back. He didn't care in that way, obviously. So docile may come from that, but it was more of strategy, is what I would guess.
Sure.
So no, I'd be curious. That'd be mine. Like I would maybe there's a deeper mystery there that I would actually be interested, but that would be mine.
See, I want to know if like we are the first advanced civilization. I think either that or like, are there aliens, or like what's the
aliens is a cool one. You just ask your Ouija board though. You can get that answer.
So yeah, you're wasting your wish.
Yeah. That one's not a good one. No.
No, I don't know.
Where's
you don't think that one's a good one?
Ark of the Covenant buried? That's what I'll find.
I think my actual question would probably be, is there any sort of intelligent life anywhere else in the world or in the universe?
I gotcha.
Because to me, that's one of the only questions we literally have been asking our whole lives, and we still have zero clue.
Yeah.
Like, literally zero clue.
I think the probability is that there has to be life somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree.
Sure. Probably.
Exactly. That's why it's my question. Yeah. It's just like,
I know.
Would you want to meet
an infinite amount of tornadoes creates an airplane, right? Eventually, right?
What about
if it's infinite, right?
What about Malaysian Flight 377?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's
bottom of the ocean somewhere.
Hey, you see, they found Amelia Earhart, or they think they found Amelia Earhart. I
saw that one.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Got to check that one off, John.
Holding it down for female pilots everywhere.
There just can't not be anybody else in the universe. When you look at the sheer size of the galaxy, and then you look at the size of like the different galaxies beyond that, like the Andromeda or whatever it is, then it's like you look at it and you're just like, damn, there is billions and billions and billions of stars and galaxies and planets, and you're like, what's the point of it if there's nobody else, right?
Exactly.
So
that's my question. I mean, I watched Interstellar. Probably the most overrated movie of all time.
Yeah, it was good.
Gonna throw that out there, by the way.
I've never rewatched it. So.
Stay mad, by the way, if you think I'm wrong, honestly. Matthew McConaughey's in a bookcase at the end of it.
He is. Inside the bookcase.
Yeah, for sure. Best movie ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
Why?
I don't remember it that much, to be fair.
It's don't watch it.
It's been a while. I saw it. I don't remember if it was theaters or if it was.
I thought about watching it, and then I watched Mad Max: Fury Road, which couldn't be the more opposite of Interstellar, and I enjoyed every single frame.
I have not ever seen a single Mad Max.
I haven't either.
Are you serious?
Never seen a Mad Max.
Dude, the Fury Road is amazing.
Is it? It's worth my time.
Dude, it's 99% on Rotten. It's eye candy.
Okay.
It's not even like a good story, but it's just like,
okay,
wow. It was the last movie I saw in the theater. I was like, wow. Like, seriously, dude, it's good.
I saw Avatar in 3D, and I was like, damn, this is crazy.
See, like, you're going to watch it in your house with your kids yelling in the background. So it's cool.
No,
but like the first, dude, it's badass. I mean, it didn't win Academy Awards or anything. It's Mad Max.
I don't need it to.
But it's entertaining as hell.
If it wins an Academy Award, we're probably just like, I'm probably not going to like it. So
yeah.
You haven't watched Parasite yet.
You see
that's true. I have not.
They're replacing Johnny Depp with a black woman.
For what?
For Pirates of the Caribbean.
That doesn't surprise me. It's like the South Park Panderverse.
No, it was literally just
the Panderverse is so real, dude.
It's true.
Kathleen Kelly. Did you hear the Star Wars interviews? I know I told Brock about it.
Yeah.
They interviewed the new lady.
Yeah, they have some little Pakistani girl. Yeah. And she's like, in my country, I am known for making men uncomfortable. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to lead the topic, and I'm going to make you men uncomfortable.
Yeah.
90% of my like revenue base from the Star Wars, I'm going to make uncomfortable because, that's what we need is some Pakistani women coming over here saying that we have no idea about like feminism or women rights. Like, it's all right, bitch. Like, why don't you fucking go put on your hijab back over there?
Like what you see in the Panderverse. And it's just like, who's selling this to like these people? It's
these people, it is a projection of their own problems on others.
Yeah, it's always some frumpy, lady talking about it too.
She's always got blue hair.
Like talking about like making men uncomfortable. You're like, you think guys give a fuck? We don't care. Like, there's nothing like you want to be a star. Like nobody cares.
Like nobody cares. What I mean. Like, Who's uncomfortable now?
Like there's really like the stigma against women in this way just doesn't exist in the same way that people like to make it this big deal.
I would buy it if there wasn't a great female character all throughout the original trilogy.
Yeah, like that's the worst one to do.
A literal trilogy just made with a female lead instead of fucking Luke Skywalker.
True, yeah.
And then, actually, ironically enough, probably the best Star Wars installment we ever had. And I'm the damn it, I'm blanking on.
Was it Rogue One?
Yeah, Rogue One.
Rogue One was really good.
Female lead in that one.
Yeah.
She was great.
Yeah.
Where is this like narrative coming from? Ashaka. This is literally like, where is this narrative
Ahsoka
coming
Toa?
from? Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Like I said, it's not based on reality. It's based on some sort of projection in their minds.
Right.
Like they're making this shit up. It's
That's
just
what I'm saying is like, what narrative?
like
is
you want to take what people did 50 years ago and think that's what it's like today. Like, no, everything's changed. We're millennials. We grew up with fucking normal people on our TV screens in the 90s. Like you look at black people, women, they were all leading on the TV screen in our movies.
Mulan came out when I was 9, bro.
Nobody gave a fuck.
Exactly.
You know?
Linda Carter, Terminator 2, Sigourney Weaver, Alien.
Absolutely.
Like there's been
and
badass.
we were all like Sigourney Weaver and Linda Hamilton are badasses.
Yes.
Well, none of us were like,
what's made me
lead.
question it is all this new shit where they're not badasses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she doesn't look that badass.
No, it's just not believable. It's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
like, this girl that's like, it was like when I watched Rings of Power and it was like Galadriel was
See,
in
if
there.
you want some sexism, go with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
That's sexism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's like 2 women in the whole fucking trilogy.
It's true.
Yeah. Not Star Wars.
Galadriel was just awful. Everybody hated Galadriel in that one, and they just
17 Academy Awards, by the way. Star Wars.
Dude, okay.
I was talking about Rings of Power.
Okay, so
the Amazon.
This is
Amazon.
so off topic, but kind of on topic.
Sure.
So
it's all on topic.
During the Grammys the other night, I don't know if any of you watched that.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
I have a wife, so she wanted to watch it, so that's why we watched it. Yeah, you know how it goes. But when Jay-Z won his award, he went up there and was like, Beyonce has more Grammys than any other artist, but she has never won like album of the year.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I can name 1,000 Beyonce songs, but not a fucking. I can name Lemonade as one Beyonce album.
Tell me a Beyonce song since Halo that's been good.
No, I'm
she's a victim
Lemonade.
of her own
I'm saying
success.
Lemonade. I'm saying Lemonade. Like, and name another artist that has had that many people come up there and fuck people over, be like, and be like, oh my God, sorry, Taylor, Beyonce is the real winner of this. Like, good God, what a bunch of fucking participation trophy bullshit stuff. Like, is that what you do? You have a woman of color, so you're like, oh, she has a fat ass and she's a woman of color. She needs to be the artist of the year. Like,
minus the fat ass. That's why we have a female president.
It's true though.
Like what's the whole fucking point of that? You have literally the most decorated Grammyist of all time, and they're still fucking bitching about, well, we don't have this. Like, are you fucking serious? I was a Beyonce fan until he went up there and did that. I'm like, you know what? Fuck Beyonce. Beyonce's a bitch.
I haven't been a Beyonce fan.
Yeah, like
probably since like Austin Powers 3 or whatever it was, Austin Powers 2. Gold member, whatever she was in. That was the only time.
I'm a bigger Beyonce fan than I am Jay-Z. Jay-Z's fucking
Jay-Z's the one I hate for sure.
Yeah, but like, how ridiculous is that? Like, how many men are going to have to go up there and be like, oh my God, Beyonce deserves it. Oh my God, Beyonce deserves it. Like, obviously fucking not. Like,
well, dude,
she would already want it if she.
Taylor won it. Yeah, you know,
Taylor is a powerhouse. Beyonce cannot compete with Taylor Swift. Taylor's young. She's on the rise, and she's already kicking the shit out of her in that game.
Well,
so,
and here's the thing: is like,
stay mad.
Is Beyonce Beyonce did what she had to do? Like, she catered to the sexualization of herself for
sure
for fame. So that kind of cut off a couple like areas where
but her music changed. Her music changed at a certain point. It was a little bit more fun, bubblegum like involved, and then it went hard like.
It's like, I'm
like angry hard instead.
Yeah, it's like, my husband cheated on me because I have curly hair. Like, what? No, your husband cheated on you because that's what dudes do. Like, sorry. Like, the inequalities that they try to like form on just like unfortunate situations in their life, I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, everybody's looking to be the victim. So, I mean, it's amazing that even like the richest people like Jay-Z and Beyonce can be the victim in this game. But, I'm the real victim because, I have to listen to this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is true.
I have to hear about fucking Jay-Z and Beyonce without actually wanting to hear about Jay-Z and Beyonce. I am the victim.
Yeah, no, like, who even fucking cares about Jay-Z and Beyonce? Like,
yeah, no, it's really pretty sad. There's an entitlement between all of them. And I mean, Beyonce is obviously an awesome performer and an awesome artist and things like that. And it's been a mega star. But Beyonce's getting old. She's not gonna be doing what she used to do.
And then it was also funny because they had like Stevie Wonder up there. It's like I feel like they bring that motherfucker out every 5 Grammys. Like, all right, we have a blind black man. Let's just throw him out there, and like that, like, you know, that gets our social credit score up. And the only reason I know who Stevie Wonder is because he's always on the fucking Grammys or some shit. Yeah. They had Billy Joel. Yeah. Like, who the fuck is like I know Billy Joel because I like old music, but like, who the fuck has heard from Billy Joel in years?
John probably knows Billy Joel.
They had, me and John jammed to Billy Joel.
There you go.
And then they had some old lady singing of Miley Cyrus who literally was so fucking old she could barely sing, and she was sitting in this chair. Oh, do you
know who it was?
Grammy performer.
She said really old and talented.
No, it wasn't Dolly.
I think he's got your mic down.
Yeah. I have him. There you go.
That's it.
Who is this?
You would know who Dolly Parton is.
Of course, yeah. You have to know who Dolly Parton is.
Everyone knows who Dolly Parton. She was an actual babe, an actually talented songwriter.
And crazy talented.
I know.
Crazy talented.
I'm very aware. Dolly Parton's literally an American treasure.
Like Taylor Swift is, and Dolly Parton, like those are going to be some big names, like throughout all of history in terms of songwriting.
It's June Carter and Dolly Parton.
Joni Mitchell.
I don't know who that is.
She's 80 years old.
I mean, she's actually pretty talented.
Yeah.
Like, reluctantly, like, she's pretty good.
Exactly.
She's pretty good.
No, she is. She's a good artist at that time.
Did Creed ever win any Grammys?
I highly doubt it.
They should have.
Go there.
I
hope they didn't win any Grammys.
Well, I think that cuts it for the Nut Club, mainly because my camera just died. So.
Oh, no. Right.
Anytime Creed gets brought up, it's probably time to wrap it up.
Yeah. Let's make our escape. Come on.
Awesome.
Well, I guess that's a good Nut Club end right there on some Creed. Can you take me higher?
Is that your favorite Creed song?
No, I don't think it is. Higher's a good one, but it's not my favorite one.
Yeah, definitely not.
No. My Own Prison is a really good one.
Shout out to My Own Prison. My actual Creed fans know that one.
6 feet.
The album,
The album, My Own Prison. But the song itself was great too.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Bullets.
Bullets was good.
Off the newest one. And that was a horrible album.
That is
that's a deep pull.
That was controversial.
That's how you know I'm a Creed fan.
Yeah.
Which I just said out loud. Yeah.
Oh shit!
What if a Creed song?
Out of all the
what if?
That's a great intro, actually.
Good all the things we've said on here. All the things we've said on here. The fact that John just admitted he's a Creed fan. That's what's going to get us canceled. Right there.
Creed's great. Everybody loves Creed. It's like Nickelback. Like just accept them. Just accept them. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for cranking one out with the Nut Club, guys.
And subscribe.
Well, of course you got to subscribe.
Subscribe.
Always subscribe.
How else is anybody else going to find this if you don't subscribe it? So
if you love Creed, subscribe.
If you